Today, we're going to go through lesson 7B class activity. And the first thing you want to do is read number 1 to understand the problem. There's some important information in there. Next, you go through identify variables and assumptions. You'll recall that variables are places where you can make a decision. Assumptions are places where you don't make a decision, but they are very important to the problem. And let's start applying some quantitative tools. What is the total amount of money Spencer needs to finish his education? You'll recall that up above it says he estimates he needs 4,985. I'll put that number down there. And as each semester, he has 6 semesters left. So I'll take that amount, multiply it by 6, and that will give us $29,910. How much money will Spencer earn on his own? I believe up here it says how much he'll make. 2,140 per semester. There are 6 semesters. We multiply 2,140 by 6. That's $12,840. What's the minimum amount of money that Spencer needs to borrow? And so that's how much he needs, almost 30,000. And let's take away about almost 13,000 because that's what he'll be earning. The difference of that is $17,070. What's the maximum amount of money Spencer could borrow? Oh, he spoke to his loan officer. Loan officer told him it would be 5,250. 5,250 times 6 semesters. So 5,250 per semester times 6. That means he could borrow 31,500. So let's complete these amortization tables over to the right. Start filling in the things that we do know. Spencer's minimum loan amount would be, assuming he just takes what he needs, nothing more, 17,070. The maximum loan amount that he would be taking is 31,500. Okay. And so I just plug these values in here. Actually, you can also reference these other cells. G50 for that one, the maximum amount equals that one right there, G53. Either way, it all pays the same rate. That's the loan interest rate when he spoke to the mortgage officer, the 2.75%, 0.75%. And years to repay the loan. That information's in here as well. So it's a 10-year loan. So we'll put in 10. His monthly payment. And we'll use the Excel formula, PMT, and the rate is 2.75% divided by 12. He has how many payments N per? That's 10 times 12. And the present value negative, I'll just reference that cell right above, N40. And so his monthly payment would be $162.87. And if all Spencer does is make minimum payments, that is going to be his payment, $162.87 times 10 years, and there are 12 months in a year. And so he'll be paying $19,544. And the interest is the total amount paid minus the loan amount. And these are kind of hard to see. I'm going to make these black. So I'll select those cells, go automatic. That looks better. So he has total interest of almost $2,500 if he just makes minimum payments. Well, let's copy this information over. I'm not going to copy the loan amount, but I'll copy everything else below it. I'll select those cells, Control C, and I come over here and I paste it. And you'll recall from previous lectures where we talked about reference formulas. The monthly payment, it references the cell right above it. And it uses those values that we put in there. And so now we've got all that information in there. If he borrows the maximum amount of money, he's looking at $300 monthly payment, and the total interest he pays is nearly double $4,500 instead of $2,500. And yeah, so it's a bit more. Well, let's start looking at these things in here. We'll start populating the amortization table. That will help us make better decisions. Beginning balance. Well, he has a beginning balance of $17,070. You notice that both of these tables are set up exactly the same, and we'll leverage that to our benefit. To interest equals loan interest rate. Well, it's the beginning balance times then the interest divided by 12. I'm going to anchor the row for the loan interest rate. So that first month, when he makes his $162.87 payment, almost $40 of that is going towards interest. And the amount that goes towards principal is the payment minus the interest. Everything else is left over. I'm going to anchor down the 47, put the $sign right there. The ending balance is the beginning balance minus the principal payment. And so after that first month, he still owes $16,946.25. And we have a new beginning balance. Let's reference that cell right there. And then we can drag these things down. I'll copy those formulas and everything because of the way we set them up. If you set them up the same way that I did. And this amortization table only has 5 months, but we have a few more months. Excel is really good at recognizing patterns. So what I'll do is I'll select these first 5 months, and I'll click on this. When you have the selection, you'll notice it's darker here. The top one is not dark, but there's a darker line all the way around the whole selection and a little box in the bottom right-hand corner. The mouse over that box, and you've got that plus sign. I'll left click. It's on a PC. I'm not sure what it is on an Apple, but I'll left click that. I'll drag it down, and you'll see it. It kind of tells me that what those numbers are, and we're going all the way down to the 10-year, 120 payments. Ooh. There we go, 120 payments. And then, if you want to go up and down really fast, you select a cell, Control up. It goes as far as there is information. If I want to copy all the way down, I'm going to select these cells. I won't select the first one because that first cell in this cell right here, that is just way up here. It's the beginning balance of what the loan amount is. But on row 2, that's just the ending balance of the previous month. And so I'm going to do Shift, Control right, that selects everything, or Shift and then a bunch of arrows over. You'll see that whole thing selected with that little bar, and I'm going to double click that. And I will copy it all the way down. I'm going to Control down to get to the bottom, and you'll see it goes down to where the balance is $0. So that should give us everything we need. And I'm going to copy this starting at month 1. Mouse over and then Control. I'm holding down the Shift key so that it retains its selection. Shift Control, hold down both the Shift Control and the down, and all of that is selected. And I'll copy that, which is Control C. Or you can right click it, right click and do copy. And then I'll move over here. Control V is paste, or you can right click. I'll do that. Right click, paste. Do the first one. And it pastes everything in. And because I had some cells anchored, but some did not anchored, like for example, here, this one is references. When you click a cell, you see all those cells that are involved. So R49, that's one to the left, the beginning balance with the interest rate of 2.75% divided by 12, and that's anchored down for the row. The column's not anchored, which is why all of that copied over just fine. And then this cell references the cell 2 above it, T47, and the column's not anchored, but the row is, minus whatever to the left. So that's everything after the bank takes their share. The amount that goes towards paying down the principal, the ending balance, everything's the same here. The difference is that there's a higher payment. There's a higher beginning balance. There's a lot more that gets paid. more than $2,000 worth that gets paid with that loan. Now that gives us all the information we need to make the quantitative. Actually, just about. Spencer takes the maximum amount of extra money could he have each of his remaining semesters? That's a good question. And so instead of extra money, and so that means he would be borrowing, let's go back, 5,250. How much above what he would be? The question is, if Spencer takes the maximum amount, how much extra money could he have each of his remaining 6 semesters? Well, there's a few ways you can solve that. One way is we know that that's the loan amount. Equals this in parentheses, that minus that. So those are the two loan amounts you'd have. Divide it by 6. So you'd have an extra $2,400 to burn through every semester. One of the problems if you do borrow that much of extra money when you don't really need it, you might end up spending it. And then you have to repay all of that. That's one of the risks. And there's these comparison charts. And then you get to choose about, now that you have all this information, you get to choose what you feel would be the best option for Spencer's situation based off of all the information that you have. And then evaluate your reasoning and go back and you think on that and why you made that decision. Well, great. That should take you through everything you need to do for the quantitative part of this. And good luck finishing the rest of this assignment.